Hero Safari, The 10-Year Contract Story Episode 4. The Bloodlines Redemption Unbroken Shattered Chains Vow. The silence after the message was suffocating. Sabari's hands shook as he stared at the picture of Kavya and the children, their terrified faces seared into his mind. This is no longer about me, he breathed. Rajan has broken every line. If my blood cries out my enemy, then I will respond to him, not as his brother, but as the man who refuses to bow. Daruva clutched his arm, voice stern. You can't go walking into his lair by yourself. That's exactly what he wants. He's waited 10 years for this moment. Sabari's jaw clenched. And I have been waiting for 10 years for my freedom. If the price of guarding them is confronting him, then so be it. But I go alone. Swapna took a step forward, her eyes burning though her shaking hands. Sabari, hear me. I did this for you, thought this would keep you safe. But if you go into Rajan's trap blind, all that I've given up, all these years, will be for nothing. He doesn't need only your life, he wants to shatter your spirit. Promise me you won't let him have that victory. For a moment, instead of the icy contract woman, Sabari saw a face that had watched over his life like a guardian in silence. He nodded to her, with much unspoken thanks. Rain poured down in deluges that night. Sabari stepped out of the house with nothing but his resolve and his burning letter of his mother. He marched into the storm with the burden of betrayal, blood, and revenge. The address Rajan had sent was a ruined textile mill on the city's outskirts. Its giant chimneys rose like the bodies of dead men, and its broken windows glowed with the red light of fire within. Sabari walked through the gates, the sound of his footsteps clanging out. From the darkness, Rajan's laughter wrapped around him, cutting the air like glass. At last, little brother, Rajan's deep voice called out. The deal is up today. And so is your fantasy of freedom. Lights blazed, and Kavya and her children tied to chairs in the middle of the mill came into view. Hope flared in their eyes at seeing Sabari. Sabari panted. Release them, Rajan. Children are your issue. Rajan moved closer, his face distorted with a sadistic grin. Exactly. And that's why they're here. To see you bleed. To see you understand that blood bonds are only shackles. From the rafters above, unseen to Sabari, Daruva and Swapna crouched in the shadows. They had followed him, despite his demand to come alone. Dhruva's hand tightened on the pistol hidden under his jacket. Swapna's eyes burned with a resolve fiercer than ever. Because they all knew tonight was not just a meeting. It was the beginning of war. The old mill creaked with the force of the hammering storm outside. The air was thick with rust, flames, and ancient dust. Sabari's fists tightened as Rajan moved around him like an animal. Rajan's laughter was low and mocking. You always believed you were free, didn't you? The obedient son, dutiful husband, the quiet brother. But the truth is, you've always been mine to manipulate. Sabari's voice rolled back, as sharp as steel. You're mistaken. I lived 10 years in shackles, but tonight I choose my destiny. Rajan's smile broadened. Don't you know why you married Swapna on that marriage contract? Why mother pushed for it? You thought it was sacrifice. Obligation. No, Sabari, penance. The word sliced through him like a knife. Penance, for what? Rajan's eyes sparkled in the light of the fire. For father's death. You still don't remember, do you? You were the reason he died. That accident wasn't fate, it was your hands. And mother bound you to Swapna not out of love, but to keep you from ever stepping out of line. A golden cage to tame the guilty child. Sabari reeled away, gasping for air, flashes of memory, fragments of a rain-soaked night many years ago, his father's cry, his own shaking hands on the wheel of a car. Was it possible? Kavya wept in her chair, the children holding on to her, their faces round with terror. Don't listen to him, Sabari. She wailed. He's filling your head with poison. But Rajan stood close, his words toxic. Why would Swapna be so cold? She was not your wife. She was your jailer. The agreement wasn't marriage, it was a leash. And tonight, I cut it. In the rafters, Daruva breathed in desperation to Swapna. He's shattering Sabari's mind before he shatters his body. We must leave. But Swapna's hand flashed out, restraining Daruva. Her face was ashy, her lips quivering with the burden of truth. No, he is not lying. Dhruva's eyes widened. What? Swapna closed her eyes, tears running free. Your father's death that night wasn't an accident. You were so young, but it was you. And I was told to protect you, to restrain you, keep you from ever knowing the truth until the moment. Sabari's knees gave way. The world came around in circles. His heart howled silently. Betrayal over betrayal, truth over truth, shattering like thunder. Rajan opened his arms victoriously. See, brother, you've lived a lie. You were never free. And you never will be. Lightning flashed outside, and in that blinding glare, Sabari's eyes turned hard. Out of the tempest of guilt and sorrow, something terrible began to stir. Perhaps my life was a deception. Perhaps I was a captive. But tonight, Rajan, I shatter every link. Including you. The tempest raged outside louder, as if the heavens themselves anticipated blood. The rain lashed against the broken windows of the mill, thundering in echo of the tempest storming within Sabari's heart. Rajan's sadistic grin did not waver. If anything, it grew darker as he withdrew a knife from his overcoat, its edge flashing in the firefight. You were never strong, Sabari, Rajan sneered. Even now, shaking like the boy who murdered his own father. Tonight, I will release you from your suffering. Sabari's hands shook not with fear, but with rage. His voice was a low, menacing growl. No, Rajan. Tonight, I set myself free. With a bellow, Sabari attacked. The two brothers met, fists crashing, metal biting into bone. Each blow was loaded with years of pent-up rage, sadness, and betrayal. The walls of the mill vibrated from the fury of their impact. Kavya yelled when sparks erupted from shattered machinery. The children wailed, their screams cutting across the tumult. Swapna's expression was contorted in guilt, but she remained immobile, as if her own transgressions had bound her to the ground. Daruva could not delay any longer. He came hurtling down from the rafters, a metal bar clutched in his hand, bringing it down towards Rajan. But Rajan was prepared, turning, and Daruva went crashing across the floor. You'll get your chance, boy. Rajan growled. Sabari took hold of his brother's wrist in mid-swing, inches from his throat. Their eyes met, blood to blood, past to present. Sabari's voice was hoarse. All my life, I had others make decisions for me, mother, Swapna, even you. No more. He tore the knife out of Rajan's hand and punched his brother in the jaw, and he slid back against a wristy beam. Blood ran down Rajan's face, but his laughter came back, cold and uninterrupted. Even if you kill me, Sabari, the truth won't set you free. You'll never escape what you did. You'll always be the killer of our father. Sabari stood still. The knife trembled in his hands, inches from Rajan's chest. The past roared in his ears, the tires screeching, the last cry of his father. His breathing was harsh, his conscience ripping apart in fury and redemption. Behind him, Kavya's anguished voice pierced through. Sabari, don't look at him. You are not a single knight, you are defined by your choices today. For us. For your children. For yourself. Her words penetrate the tempest raging in his head. Sabari's hold on the knife firmified not with anger, but determination. He discarded the blade. No, Rajan, I won't let you dictate my life, or guilt. The shackles end tonight. But Rajan, bleeding but smiling, jumped again. During the fight, both brothers slammed into the side of a burning machine. The fire snapped, metal screamed, and the storm howled as the shot dissolved into blackness, leaving what happened uncertain. Hero Safari, the 10-year contract story, episode 5 to be continued.